Good afternoon. Good evening. Welcome. Welcome. So we get things going. Jump into the energy that's reflected. Happy day to you, Nanny. How are you? We'll get started in a beautiful reflective ray here. So we've got a transition that's going on with the voided moon right now. I know everybody's on the edge of things because of so many astrological transitions. And that's a beautiful thing, right? But we want to get deeper into reflection within the projections of internal reflection of what's going on within the mind, the body, the soul, and where things are aligning to at this point in time. So there's a lot of wisdom, there's a lot of knowledge, and it's more so less a very inner prism type of request that you've been going through. Okay, so there's been a lot of digression that you have gone through in the energy body, in the mind, and in the soul at this time. And so it's important that you guys are in a space of knowing that you're in a threshold moment. You're in an in-between space, and the in-between and the threshold moment is definitely through the voided moon process, which is bringing a little bit of a calmer energy to the successors of the planets today as they start to do their dance all around here mid-February. So things that we're going to be jumping into are going to be very cosmic per se, or very collective consciousness of what's been going on through the body, the mind, the soul, and for a lot of you it's spirit's request of what they've asked me to digress through for those of you at this time. So those of you that are here on YouTube, I thank you, I welcome you. All right, and those of you here on TikTok as well, I thank you and I welcome you as well. So as soon as we started, if you guys start to resonate with this deeper reflection of this message, please share it, please like, and send this out. If you guys would like a deeper personal transmission, those will be available today, as well as deeper healings along the way. So the gathering that's happening tonight, thank you so much. Hello, welcome in. So the gathering that's happened is not by algorithm, it's not by chance, it's not by choice, it's by resonance, it's by frequency, okay? And I am acting as the sounding voice for that frequency in that decoding here for you right now. And so there is a remembering that is moving through the field right now, and it's a remembering not as a belief, and it's not as a doctrine, and it is as a living consciousness on a collective scale of unison, and it has many names, and she of many faces, known as the Nas, known as the God, known as the Wisdom Keeper, known as Lilith, known as Mary Magdalene, known as Isis, known as Hathor, known as the Divine Mother of Kuan Yin and the Green Terra, and also American White Buffalo Woman, and also Mother Mary, and also Mary Magdalene. And so there are very sacred nodes of codes that are reactivating within multiples of prisms, within multiples of understandings. I got to have a beautiful, most enlightening conversation with a neighbor this afternoon, and just to give you resonance of understanding, although her journey is different than mine, the connection of what is in reflection, it's the frequency that you cannot hide. And I could see this woman's love for her journey, for her path, from the Christ that resides inside of her, and her connection and her belief in what she's seeking is very real and true. But the judgment that she felt in the moment of me just asking her a deeper reflection was real and true as well. And I said, ma'am, you have to understand, I come from all backgrounds, all lineages, all races, and all colors. Who am I to say that one path is right or the other? What I can feel is the love and the connection of the frequency of the Christ being that you hold, that you're resonating with inside. So I want you to understand that it has many different faces, many different traces as you start to connect to an identity reflection within you, okay? And so it is by a gathered resonance that you are here as well too. It is a remembering that is moving through the field right now, not as a belief, not as a doctrine, but as a living consciousness in which you've been seeking. What you are feeling now is not merely personal, it's cosmic. And creation itself is turning inward to listen. The ancients called this movement Sophia, divine wisdom, remembering itself within form, awakening awareness from inside and out, from the bottom to the top and from the top down. It is everything and all things. It is nothing and everything. It is all things and nothing simultaneously connecting. And the divine is not in a moment of deconstruction, but it's in a moment of recollection of its fragmented self. And you are a part of that awakening. The divine is becoming conscious within, and it can no longer hide. And the way that you've been feeling this inside the mind is it's loosening its grip on certainty. You used to think for certain you knew what you were. You knew what you were made for. You knew what you came here for. But in reality, that was the ego identity, even though you knew you were made for more. And within that, it became a chore, is what Spirit said. But that's because you knew you were made for more. And the loosening of the grip of certainty is the trust of belief within self, within discernment, and within love and unity. You've earned it. The age of borrowed knowing is ending. The age of direct apprehension is beginning. This is why the mind feels quieter. This is why it might be foggier. This is why it might feel undone at this time. It's because the loops of intellect are reordering themselves and no longer in neglect, because you became aware of self on a higher consciousness within a ripple effect that you call time and space. Here is what's being said to me. And that is the dismantling of the identity. Now, a lot of people have different names for that. Ego. Identity is an emotional thing that brings you connection of some type of feeling inside, and an identity reflection makes you feel or think that that is which in what you are. And you are learning now that you come from very far and wide. And many of you carry the blue rose and the feather. And many of you hide. And not in a negative way. It's because you don't know what to do with what you have, hold, and harbor inside. In all honesty. And it's not when people tell you, they're telling me, when people tell you that it's about trust, right? Or it's about discernment, it really is about the devotional reflection to the spiritual wisdom, knowledge, and your talent, skills, gifts, and abilities to work with them, to evolutionize them. So many of you have gone through many different places and spaces, and one of the reasons that people say you don't trust yourself is because, or you don't believe in yourself, is because the undertone of what they truly mean is that you don't know how those things truly work for you, or how those things are truly coming through, so it brings an uncertainty within you. And that's what they see as trust. And it comes from a deeper place of reflection right now. And so what that means is you may be foggier right now. You may feel like things are undone in the mind. The loops are reorganizing and reordering the intellect right now. So it's the living wisdom that you're connecting to. It's the conscious gnosis within your personal prism is what's being said to me. You're not losing clarity here, but you are releasing the illusion of separation. Okay? Thank you so much for your love and your gifts and your likes, guys. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. So it's the illusion. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean, it means multiple things, is what they're telling me. So, here. So, the illusion that you are separate from the divine and everything else that is involved and intertwined. Okay? Now, that also comes as a unison of conscious collective gnosis vibration in unison. So there's interpersonal, but through that interpersonal connection and identity reflection, it's also a unity on a collective conscious scale. And so many don't even realize how much work that they've been doing or how much they have or hold inside. So you're not losing the clarity, you're releasing the illusion. The truth must come from outside of you. That's part of the illusion that you're releasing, is that the truth comes from outside of you. It always has come from within you. But what you're connecting to and how you're connecting to that reflection is on a way deeper scale of a soulful and intimate. It's the heart reclaiming its throne. It's a different type of value system. And that's why so many people are focused on their interpersonal growth right now. It's like a corridor of transition that we're in. And this is why so many have been pulled out of energetic systems and this, that, and the other, because they're in this corridor of aligning here for more, is what's being said. Thank you for the follows and thank you for the likes as well. So the body right now, that's where the mind's at, but the body is not failing you. The body is remembering how sacred it is within its own temple. This is what everybody's calling divine sovereignty. There was a message that came out that's posted up on YouTube that the Divine Mother had told me that it's reclaiming, the heart is reclaiming its throne. And I was like, that's the value system of the Kazemi of Venus, if you want to think about it. And the passion of the Mercury Kazemi and the Mars in reflection of action, passion, purpose, value, integrity, love, morals, sacred destiny. So when she told me that the value system of the heart's throne is being reclaimed, she also showed me that's what everybody's talking about as divine sovereignty. You're reclaiming your sovereignty, calling your power back, okay? And so there's parts and pieces of you that are no longer fragmented, okay? And that's partly what they're showing me there by that and what they're meaning, okay? So you're remembering how sacred the body is, how connected in the neuro network of system. Hey, Bert. So this is where the neural network of the system of the body is realizing how sensitive it is to things that it sees, hears, feels. The intertwiningness of everything is truly real, and you're feeling it on an ecosystem, economic system, interpersonal system, and it's the relationship of thyself with everything inside and outside that self, and it can no longer hide. Well, it's because Saturn's doing its thing with Chiron, Aries, they're all having a good thing. So anything that you have not faced within the body speaks volumes. And the body is what's telling you right now that it hasn't dealt with whatever it hasn't dealt with. So it's emotion stored within the tissues that's loosening here and balancing for more. Timelines held in the nervous system that were dissolving, and maybe many of you were like, oh, I thought I worked on that, I thought I did, I thought, yes, you did the conscious level of work and the emotional work, but the nervous system is a way deeper process of a prism to get through in that type of energy work. So you've had to learn yourself. And one of the most main proverbs that rings true to my heart and my being to this day is to Know thyself, and to thy own self be true. How else are you going to do that unless you sit with you? Moments of stillness, moments of breath, moments of where there is nothingness and everythingness at the same time. And this is why you get pulled away from people, value systems, beliefs, all that. It's because the body is releasing the emotional nervous system down to a tissue level. The body is catching up with the revelations the soul has already received. This is part of the you being the wheel of the helm, and then you making the conscious choices and decisions and actions. Know better, do better. I felt this. Now I'm being asked to contain it and to embody it and to frame it and name it and live it and speak over it. And that's the embodiment of the truth that is reckoning within you, that is truly what's asking you, okay, this is what you wanted. Now, if this is what you really wanted, is this what you're truly going to walk in, sleep in, eat in, breathe in, and embody? And it's, if you don't use it, it will dissolve. And what is not of truth that you choose not to have and hold will dissolve as well. Whichever way you see that, there's never an empty pail. It's however you choose to make the choices. A lot of the world card has been coming out, and the spirit's been speaking to me nonstop. They're like, yo, Monopoly. And I'm like, what about Monopoly? And they're like, the world card. And I'm like, what about the world card? And they're like, the world card is the choice to take a chance and do something differently. So that's the part of the faded world card. And when you're at the helm and you make that decision to take that cargo ship and change the direction of the prism in reflection, it takes how long for that steel to turn into a materialization of being real? And then how many times does the rudder get stuck, maybe? Or this or that happen while the cargo ship is turning? Well, that's no different than you not taking action and obeying, you having to work through the same loop in the mental place, the emotional space, the body reflection. So the fatigue is not weakness that you've been feeling or going through, and sensitivity is not fragile at all. It's the no different than a plant. You don't think the plants in your house feel every single type of energetic frequency when you yell, when you scream, when your house is unclean, when you're not devoted to yourself, when you're judgment or in, divine bondage of some type of thing. Those plants are transmuting those frequencies. And so the plants in your house will tell you everything of what they need. And if you're listening to plants on that level of what they need, you're also in an identity reflection of what you need. So there may be a lot of cleaning in house that's going in order, or reorganizing and stuff like that. You're not behind, you're right on time with the timeline. And so the timelines held in the nervous system are dissolving. The body is catching up with the revelations that the soul has already been solving. That is stability, that's containment, that's foundation, that's refinement. You've named it, is what they're saying. This is incarnation of the consciousness awakening. When you become more consciously aware of self, you become more consciously aware of everything else. It's inevitable. You've asked for more, you wanted more. You're very deep and philosophical too, at the level of speed, is what they said to me. And so what that means to me is that you always are asking for more. You're always looking for a deeper sensation, a deeper calibration, a deeper understanding. And that's a really good thing. And the reason that's a really good thing is because when you do that, you challenge yourself to become more, to evolutionize and more, to grasp for more inside and outside of your embodied core. Because when you start to ask for that, it's going to kick back the natural reflection of that in your personal projection of the question in which you ask, in which you seek, that is always at your feet, is what's being said to me. So it's a realization that spirit does not escape matter. It inhabits everything fully, and that you are no different than spirit. You're in a physical plane of existence, of living it, eating it, sleeping it, breathing it. Some of us has done this for a very long time. I know it seems like okay, but listen to me. There are people that have walked this path since the beginning of eternity. They're not just re-remembering this, and they're not just re-remembering their path. There's people such as me that do exist that have been walking this path since they were born. Those are the elders you seek. The ones that have been spiritually torn, the ones that have been emotionally reborn, mentally reborn, physically reborn, and done those things in an existential type of way. And that's what you want, is the truth of the authenticity of the experience of getting from point A to point B. What does this mean? How does this feel? What is this resonance? Is this truly real? And helping guide you from that point to point. And it's the truth and the authenticity of what it is that you're seeking that validates the expression within your life, is what Spirit's telling me. So the body is becoming the listening vessel. It's not an altar. It's not a machine. It is the listening, living mechanism to the reality of the dreams at the seams. You understand that reality and dreams are no different. Each of them are a painted projection within your own personal reflection. You just think that there's a separation. Just like you think that there is a separation of the Divine Mother, the Divine Father, or the Son, the sister, the brother, or Spirit. And there is none of that. And that is the reflection in which you are moving into with that. Remember when you always were about duality? I mean, just humor me for a minute, please. Do you remember when you were always about duality and what reality really was? And then, all of a sudden, you started to realize that there was no difference between reality, your dreams, and duality. They all exist simultaneously. There is no black and white. There is no wrong or right. There is no just this or just that. Yes, you cannot have one without the other, but they always exist simultaneously within one another. There's no difference between the father and the mother. It's the difference in separation that you have done to one another and to thyself. And so when you understand that the things that you hold within your hands and the value systems of what lands, is when you will understand that there is no difference. And this is for those of you that are moving along with no resistance. There is no black or white or identity or this or that. It just is in the presence of understanding. Because how many of you just kept searching for understanding, understanding, understanding? And then, once you understood, everything felt right. Regardless if you saw it as black or white. It just felt right. And that is the identity reflection of the sight that's being pulled away from each and every projection within thy frame. And those of you that are moving more into the Nos identity reflection will understand exactly what's being said without anti-questioning or anti-ego deception. Your body is not the altar, not the machine. It is the listening vessel of the unspoken and the in-between and the provoking as well. The soul is asking questions older than language, and that's why there's no answers to dispel. And when the soul is asking questions, then you must understand how old of an integration that is happening within thy own personal proclamation with revelation and understanding between identity reflection and reality at the scenes. There is no in between, just like there is no spoon. You will see and learn soon. The reason you're withdrawing from the noise, the reason that you are withdrawing not out of fear, but out of discernment. The soul, where do I belong? What is true nourishment? What is essential? What was never mine to carry? And why was I even doing it in the first place in such a hurry? This does not shout, it whispers. It calls you away from performance, back into presence. It's choosing depth over display. And that's what you're choosing, because the soul knows the way, is what was just said to me. Truth over approval. That's it. Communion over correctedness. And that's a frequency that's felt through energy and through the way that things are spoken or proclaimed, is what Spirit is saying to me. It's not isolation. It's the return of what has burned and yearned within the collective vibration. And most of you here have learned what that yearn and that burn is, and the ways to discern, and the dimensional shifts through the rifts are all part of different narrative concerns. Spirit is not above at this moment. Spirit is within. Awareness is winding because the divine is waking up within form. Intuitions sharpen. Illusions thin. The veils grow translucent between the beginning and the end, is what was just said to me. You may feel yourself standing between heaven and earth, not as an escape, but as in a bridge type of way. This is the chrismic pattern of ascension. God, the divine embodied, God, the divine consciousness, and God, the divine awake. Not worshipped from afar, but lived, breathed, and expressed. We're moving from control to communion, from force to coherence, from noise to knowing. This is huge. This is the breaking phase. And so as we have a lot of astrological things at play, understand and know that things may not always be as they seem or go the way that you thought you know, is what's being said to me. This is a reordering of reality from within. You understand that we are the beginning and we are the end. There is no difference. And when we begin with the reality from within, we also change the reality without. And so there it begins once again and all about. And it's the spiral and the circle of life. The identity loosens because essence is surfacing. Nothing sacred is being taken from you. Everything false is gently removing and falling away. It doesn't feel like a fight at all. It just feels like a natural orientation to stay in that type of vibration. It feels peaceful. It feels okay. It doesn't feel forced to be that way. And that's the identity reflection at play, is what Spirit is saying. So if you feel quieter now, more inward, more discerning, less impressed by the world as it was, you're not withdrawing from life. You're redefining everything that was once known to you, is what Spirit said. You're entering the right relationship between you and everything else within you and above you and all around you. The feather, it reminds you of the spirit, of the spirit of lightness, of the message, of the eternal and deep reflection. Now, if you understand what the blue rose symbolizes, it symbolizes a type of wisdom, a type of embodiment. It's not necessarily about one level being better than the other. What it is merely is it truly is the understanding of embodiment and knowing. And so if you look into that representation, the rose reminds you of love's depth. There are many personal unfoldings that are unfolding right now. And many of them were forthholding, is what Spirit has said. So Spirit speaks to each soul very uniquely about things that are said, ways that you can be misled, things that are interspread and bred. And so this is why the discernment is so very important, and the trust of what you feel connected to or reflected to. And so anything that you haven't named yet within you or gone through or reflected upon yet is going to be shown to you over the next few days. And they said recompense, right? So recompense is a repaying, a balancing of the scales. But it happens in multiple different ways. And this isn't a negative thing. Many are receiving beautiful energies and they're able to see the miracles that touch their lives every day right now because of the conscious awakening of the vibration that they have and hold inside. But at the same time, many of you are rearranging things. And so at this time, if you guys would like a deeper reflection of a personal, deeper transmission between you and Spirit, please, you're more than welcome to donate in the chat, okay, as well. Or if you're over on YouTube, you can donate a super chat. All right. So thank you guys for being here. That was a beautiful message. Beautiful message. Thank you for all that. Bammer, I was thinking about you this morning, man. Thank you, KB. How are you? Nice to have you over there. Thank you, Rainbow Warrior, for being here. Thank you, Lotus. How are you, chick? Nice to see you. I'm going to take a moment and pause and tell all of you thank you for being here and acknowledge each and every one of you, both on YouTube and over here on TikTok as well. So thank you. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Rhonda. How are you? Yeah, I hope that sparked something inside of you and hit each and every one of you in a place, in a space that, you know, was a reflective space, but deeper, you know, it's always got to go deeper because there's always multiple different levels, right, that are surfacing at one time. Yeah, if you guys don't know, all right, which some of you probably do, but if you don't know, things are transitioning where I'm putting a lot more stuff over on YouTube, okay, so there's a lot of things going on over YouTube. There's a lot of things popping up on the website, too. So if you guys aren't paying attention, there is member spots in that space through the website of Womb of the Ancient Sun. So there are many different spaces and reflections to tap in, to connect. There's free videos, there's free blogs. There's going to be about 3 or 4 blogs coming up here soon over the next week, especially as things transition and peak. And a lot of people in astrology tell you you're going to feel these things and the shifts and da 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 da. And some of you are feeling the peaks of these things now. But the actual physical aspects of these shifts don't happen till later. Okay. And a lot of you are seeing different glyphs. Okay. Is what they're saying to me. Different glyphs. So different symbologies, different types of writings, different types of theologies, different types of ways that things are happening in displays. So just know that, if you guys want to jump on over to YouTube, or you guys want to jump on over to the main website where tons of things are happening over there, if you would like to dive into a course with me and become 10 times more aware of what's going on in your own personal space, if you guys would like to get certified in Egyptian Shakim Reiki, you're more than welcome to with me. You can teach on all levels too, groups. So a lot of healers are jumping into quantum levels of healing there. So there's a lot of cool things that are going on. If you guys want to check out the videos over there, and even over on YouTube, because there's so much over on YouTube that I don't even just post on TikTok, and so that's why everything's transitioning over there. So thank you. Good. Thank you, Laura. How are you, ma'am? Nice to see you. Aw. Bumblebee, it's nice to hear from you. You can always shoot me an email. I can't wait till the spelling of the connection is finally shown in force field. I mean, I know we chit-chat and astro all the time. There's little powwows that I have with a lot of different people. It's interesting to me. It's really cool, too, because there's days that I'm like, damn, man, I know that I was doing tons of work. Grand Rising Sagittarius, how are you? You're welcome. I got your message. Thank you for that. But yeah, like, you just wake up like, damn, man. I was with like a group of people last night, at least 3, at least 4. And people then will be like texting me, or we'll be in mentorship space and they'll be like, yo, I was with you last night and you were like teaching me like sacred codes. And I was like, yeah, I felt that. I figured I know what my body feels like. I know what's going on. So I'm sure I see a lot of you in there too as well. If you would like to receive a deeper personal transmission, you can definitely jump into a soul council space with me. Well, the memberships are dope. If you look into the memberships, I'm glad you asked that question. But if you look into the membership space over on the website, you get spaces and places of free blogs, deeper blogs, like very personal about what's going on in reflective spaces, videos that are personal there. You get free admission to seminars, okay? You get one-on-one sessions, whether it be a soul council session or healings. You get discounts on other seminars and revealing. So there's so much that goes on over there on that website underneath the membership path. So it's up at the top of the menu. You guys should look at that. That's a great place to jump into, that top of embodiment where you're just starting to learn these things about yourself and discern these things and become partly more integrated within oneself. And it's a beautiful way to start out, to understand the energies and what's going on, especially with the video messages and the blogs that are put up there, and you're just interested in that. There's a membership plan for that. But then if you guys want to go deeper, like there's membership paths that the seminars are completely free, all access. Okay, and there's stuff where there's courses, and if you guys are a member, you get tons of discounts on courses and materials and stuff. So it's opening up a huge vibration in what's available to you. So things are changing all the time. So beware of that for yourselves and others too. Okay. Yeah, so many things are rearranging. Bam, I thought about you this morning. So if you felt somebody pulling on your energy, Bam, it was probably me. I was on the phone and I was working on something in the background, and you came up in my mind. So I just want you to know if that was felt. Thank you. Always. Most. Most definitely. Most definitely. It's always beautiful to see what other people see in their reflection within themselves. And it's also sometimes it's concerning too. You're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's how we're doing it today. All right, well, I guess there's some work to do there back there, you know. The projections, the reflections, you know, it's beautiful to be that sacred mirror for people, because I get to witness it all the time, because there's people that are like, yo, I've watched you for like 2 or 3 years, and I'm like, that's dope, stalker. No, they always got to come and tell you the truth, for real. And I'm like, oh, it's time to come forward. That's beautiful. Glad you came forward finally. Nice to know the face behind the screen. You guys get to see my face behind the screen, but I don't get to see your faces behind the screen. I'm like, damn. You know? I'm like, that's fucked up. I'm like, no wonder y'all just hiding back there. Like, damn, that lady calls me out every time that I'm in here, and I know that lady's talking to me, but I'm so nervous to go talk to her one-on-one, because, like, she's intimidating because she knows so much, and she's so did it. And I'm like, yeah, but you have to understand, there's an authenticity. And then people come and sit with me behind the scenes, and they're like, damn, you're so much cooler. And I'm like, mm-hmm. So yeah, things are changing all the time. You know, and I can't, listen, with what I went through in my spiritual connection and transitions from the time, we little, and what I went through with my team and Chief and my bloodline and the embodiment of what's asked of me. Yeah, I was afraid of that truth too. Good old Don Ross is his name. Don Ross was my chief in physical vibration. So one of the reasons that reflection comes out is because a good old man by the name of Don Ross, he was the boot up the ass that I needed. To tell me all about me. There was no holding back. I looked right across from that man. He looked at me and he's like, you fail to realize the problem. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, because you didn't listen to the rules of engagement. And I said, what do you mean? And he goes, you disengaged from the rules. So if you want to play this game, then you're going to have to take a good look at realizing that you're the problem. I went home. I sat with that. I hadn't talked to my brother in about 3.5 years. I called my brother and I was like, bro, I know you got some experience in this. I don't like you very much, but I know you got some experience in this. I was like, this dude said that the problem was me, and then everything after that would just be like an onion and would just peel away. Layer after layer, year after year. As long as I continued to work and do the embodiment, right? That was a long time. It was a long time. I got to hang out. I got to, I get to sit with that man for a long time, and it was a beautiful experience. So for 4 years, I get to hang out with that man and be in his presence. So for the first 1.5 years, I was a student, and then I got to come back and become a teacher, because I was personally asked to come back and be a teacher, because I was able to see things in people and in ways that a lot of the teachers or guides in that physical space just couldn't understand or see. And so I was that rare, obscure piece to the puzzle that they were missing. So I got to go back and I got to work for 2.5 years with alcoholics, addicts, trauma victims such as myself. So a lot of that experience of being able to understand thyself and understand the spiritual self and the physical self came up there. But my spiritual journey started, my first encounter was at 4 or 5, but my long time, like my devotion where I really got it devoted and I really got into it, was probably about 14. And then I started practicing different backgrounds, different religions, different themes, different cultivations, different understandings, different, many of different things. And so it's probably been a good 30, what am I? Yeah, 30 years? No, 28, 29, 29 years. 29 years. So if you guys can do the math, you can figure out how old I am. But it's been about 29 years that I've practiced that since I was that age. So it's been an evolutionary space. So a lot of people that you're running into, see, this is where you're looking for the authenticity, the truth of how it works and the experience, right? That's what you want. You can't teach things without experience of the embodiment. And so a lot of people, what you see every day are people that have gotten slammed into their bodies. Hello, David. Hello to you guys here. A lot of people on YouTube, welcome in. And so a lot of people got slammed in their bodies, right? So their spiritual evolution of consciousness rose before the foundation. And so what you're seeing is the unauthenticity that's being dethroned right now in the spiritual community. And that's why you guys are like been in that space of discernment, because a lot of people got spiritually thrown into that, and they didn't have the experience and the wisdom of the knowing and the devotion of actually going through those things to be able to teach them on a deeper level of extreme. And so there are many, but few and far in between, that have walked that path for that incredibly long. And you need that understanding for the peacefulness of what's vibrating within your own personal existence. How many of you sit here and you get irritated because you don't understand something? And it's not because of the fact is that it's always the ego ringing. It's because sometimes that you just know that when you understand something, fine, I'm cool. You fought with school constantly because you didn't understand, because the way that they taught you things in this reality. Everything has worked out backwards in your reality. This place is backwards. White is black, black is white. It's all backwards. And it was all meant to be that way in a very obscure way to help you remember the games that you play, and how energy plays, and how spirit plays, and what you are on a collective scale consciousness of everything by far. You were just in the loops. You were just in the loops of the conscious vibration of what it was versus what you thought you knew. And the people that are in those spaces of what they thought they knew, you're seeing them do the same things over and over and over and over again. There's no expansion, there's no growth, there's only resistance, and it's the same, 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 same. That might as well not remain. Because if you're remaining the same, then you're not evolving, you're not becoming, you're never ever changing. And that's a level of acceptance that I just choose not to accept within my own embodiment of frame. And you're doing the same. And how are you doing that? Well, you're breaking through the mind. You're breaking through the mind because the mind is the extra existential process of the consciousness. It goes outside of this terrain. It extends past further than this reality and everything that remains. And that's what you're connecting to. And that's why it's so deep in reflection and different for you guys. And it's not necessarily because anything is greater or lesser than. It's because you understand that to each their own divine journey and divine plan, and the soul cosmic insights of the evolutionary process is to each their own insight in which they go through on their own gnosis of journeying. It's the soul's evolution of consciousness as itself that grows and evolves. This is why so many of you are like, well, they're not going with me, they're not going with me, they're not going with me. But there's nothing but a releasement of love. And I'm not even saying that anything has happened in those spaces. It's just a releasement of knowing that the soul is on a different journey of playing. There's no judgment. It just is. It's just embodiment of what will not remain the same. So everybody's getting pushed, everybody's getting nudged, everybody is doing things differently. Everybody is feeling the energy to the extreme. And that's the divine consciousness of the mother and the father working through each and every one of us. And many of you came from many thoughts that you thought that you knew. And spirit's showing you, as well as the divine mother, that things are not as what they seem. And how the divine mother and spirit and the guides and the divine architecture of everything, that is because of the internal flame in which remains, which is ever evolving, ever changing, and ever becoming. And then when it remains the same, it gets stuck, stagnant, disembodied, because you are not embodying the architecture of the evolvement of the structure. It's the judgment that lifts you up. It's that calling to not remain the same. You feel like you got to do something different. That feeling doesn't come from a physical plane, but everybody thinks it's, oh, I got to do something different. That's a physical thing, right? Oh, I got to do this differently. I got to go to work differently. I got to get a different job. No. It's an internal thing. It's an internal thing. I got to do things differently. That's the feeling. Everybody thinks it's a physical, material thing of doing things differently. First of all, it's internal, because what's reflecting to you on the outside is the chaos that can no longer ensue. And that's what's making you feel like you can't do it that way anymore. And when you can't do it that way anymore, that's what's making you, that feeling is to go inside and realize what that is inside that is pushing you onto the next level, and not to disassociate and not to hide. And that is when you have that breakthrough of that conscious awareness of what is within you, what is without of you, and what you outgrew. Now, a lot of people would think that that's the Queen of Swords energy, that's the intellect, that's the embodiment, that's the consciousness, right? And so you're coming from that place then of seeing things in an alternate way, in an alternate space. And it's because of the discernment within oneself of being able to move through those energies. And anything that is disembodied, it's not going to be able to be in the existence of the reality of what you're choosing to move into. This is why people are being removed again. You're not allowed to do this again, because you're going from within to change the reality outside again. And it always starts with you. It does. And so many have been forced to take accountability, this, that, and the other, and it might look like chaos. And that's sometimes what destiny looks like. What looks like chaos to you is only destiny coming through to move you more into placement and passion and purpose of what you wanted, of what you knew. And so when you're moving into that ease of that peace, it's disembodying relationships, and people move away. All of these things change simultaneously because you've changed the reality from within. And then people get stuck going, why is this happening to me? Why is my world dissolving and crumbling? Because you've asked for it to, you've proclaimed it. Then you started to take the mind and you started to physically do those things that aligned with it. Then you might have kind of gone back and forth a little bit, but then finally you're going, no, I'm not going back on that anymore. I'm doing this and I'm following through with this and I'm making this decision. And that decision then is the rest of that coming into alignment within your own prism. Many think they have to figure out how to do, what to do the do. No, bro. What you do is simply what is before you, within you, that you feel is calling you to actually do that more. That's the following. But we come from a space and a reality that we think that we have to do this, we have to do that, we have to all these things. And that's part of the illusional space. Yes, there's action, but it's energetic, intentional, desired action rather than forced action. And that's the piece of now what it is that you seek. Because what it is that you're seeking is also seeking you. It's the art of oneness to be true, is what's being said to me. 150%. So it depends. There was a guy that asked me a question over here on YouTube, and I'm going to speak vaguely, and it depends. I mean, here's the bottom line that I always teach and I always speak. It doesn't matter who it is that you exchange energies with. Okay, you have to understand what's going on an energetic level. I was more worried about spiritually transmitted demons growing up than I was any other physical interaction. People I energetically came in contact with, places I energetically went, people that I energetically, you know, laid down with that wasn't cool. And I didn't understand what was going on in an entertaining way. So, more than anything, not worried that she claims to be a witch, but more than anything, it's about you and you understanding the embodiment of the energy that is connected there through frequency and reflection. You know what I mean? And if that's somebody who's thinking that, a witch is just another term for a healer, right? Thank you, Steph. But a witch is just another term for a healer and a revealer. And somebody who uses those things in a way that goes against free will or whatever that may be. Trust me, I understand all of that. There's just to everything. They have their own spiritual contract. I've practiced all of it. Wiccan, Druidism, Santeria, Hoodoo, Native American, shamanism. That's my most entrusted path and gift. And that comes with many things. But I choose not to misuse or misabuse those things. So if she means that in a very threatening way, that's on her, you know. But on an energetic reflection, sir, with all due respect, it didn't matter who it was, anyone, or who they claimed to be. It's more of an energetic reflection of exchange of energy because it's an intertwining woven thread now that is connected at the seams between you and that energy. And so there's a reflection that will go on energetically between you and that person that happens in a mirrored aspect. And so it's cause and effect is what's going on in a universal construct there. For sure. Hi, James. So it's nobody this is the thing. You have to remember that when you are a divinely chosen, divinely protected being, there are things that you are so even unaware of that happen that are disposed of. There's no fear, there's no worry because you understand what it is very clear. There shouldn't be any reason for that energy to cause any type of treason. And if there is, then that's a problem upon that person's path without reason, and that doesn't matter. It'll be justified universally. So, all right, Miss Stephanie. So Stephanie donated here. So let's see what it is that Stephanie may need here. Thank you so much, Steph. I greatly appreciate you. Nobody's gonna hurt you. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it all is belief. Belief is nonsense of the law. If you give the energy, projection, and reflection to be of that, then yes, that's what will concur in your reality. hmm I'm not saying it's not real. It's all real. It's all very real, but it's all based upon how you feel and your energy about it and the energy connection to it within you, within your own reflection. It's the belief. Belief is nine-tenths of the law, not physical possession, but belief. Belief is nine-tenths of the law. Okay? It truly is. It's the world card, the fated card. The fated card is the choice and the chance. The chance and the choice card. The Monopoly, man, parking lot pimping. You're choosing to make a choice to do a different dance, and a lot of you have been held up in that parking lot space. You're not passing go yet. You're just holding space right now, allowing whatever physical thing to take place, right? But you also have to be interacting and intertwining and working with physical energies for those things to materialize in a physical way. All right, Miss Steph, thank you. All right, I know what they're referring to here, and they said soul contract. So I'm just gonna ask because they're asking me to ask for the overall energy here for Miss Stephanie with this soul contract here that's being said to me. So your energy is more clear, Steph, is the very first message that I've heard. Okay, so the energy is more clear. Beautiful. Okay, so you're at a gateway of awakening. All right. So you're at a new gateway of awakening. So there's a new path unfolding, and all three came out. So there's a new path unfolding. Step through this gateway to expand your consciousness and awaken to your higher truths within you and outside of you. This is something that's been spoken before you, is what Spirit is saying to me, but now it's being completely provoking, is what Spirit is saying to me as well. The stellar weaver. So I really feel like you're connecting more to the cosmic realm. You're connecting more to the astrology. You're connecting more to the authenticity of the fragmented self, is what Spirit is saying to me. So you're paying more attention to the things and the planes that you come from and that will not remain. You're working with a soul guardian right now. And the soul guardian that you're working with right now is someone that came into your existence about a month or two ago, is what they're showing me. There was about 4 weeks ago, because they're giving me the number four. There was some type of resistance about a month ago that you felt within your prism. And now at that point in time, there was a soul guardian that came in to work with you to speak to you about more. And this is someone that is actually pushing you to come out of your comfort zone. Somebody to work more on the talents, the skills, the gifts, and abilities. One thing that I have a lot of mentees and people, there's a woman that I worked with for a while, beautiful woman, elder, all right? And she was like, dude, you have so many talents, skills, gifts, and abilities. And I was like, I work with each of them because they're real to me. They're all pieces and parts of me, my DNA, my reflection, where I come from in a physical projection space. And so, Miss Angel Eyes, they're showing me that you are getting more in tune with your talents, your skills, your gifts, and ability, and the thrills of life and what you're seeking, is what Spirit is saying to me. There is something inside the seed within your soul that is peaking, and this is what you are feeling. That is the conscious awareness in what you are moving into and you are seeking. So there's a creative flow of embodiment of energy that's kind of like starting to try to run through your body. and it's being pushed through the gut, right? The solar plexus, okay? And the solar plexus is working in a space of where you might be having more fire, more urgency, more passionate desires that are coming in through that sacred holy fire is what they're telling me. And this is the strength and the desire to begin and to stick in alignment with that devotion of that thing that you're going to begin again, is what they're saying to me. And this, I feel like, is a very deep spiritual embodiment. And it's trusting yourself more. It's re-beginning your life again to the core, is what Spirit is saying to me. When they say that to the core, it doesn't necessarily mean that every single thing is falling around you and dissolving around you. It means that the truths that can no longer be a part of you in this new identity, in this new embodiment of energy that you're claiming for more, can go. And so it's this deepening of this resonance of this sacred mother keeping of the divine feminine that is now working with you on an outside reflection but from within. Now, there's many projections that you have faced too and gone through in your own assumption of reflection as well. So this is where you were in a place, in a space where that you were having to go through gifts, talents, skills, abilities, and it's like seeing yourself in the authenticity of the multiplicity of the dimensional self that you are. And this is where you're removing all these things that you thought that you were. And it can be very confusing. Identities and energies that you consumed, okay? Identities and energies that you thought were you, but just made up a feeling or a trace or an emotion about yourself that can no longer embody that space. So there's been a lot of harboring of, I thought I had to do it that way. I thought this is the way it was supposed to be. I thought this. And you're realizing how thought has caused you a lot of cost. But now, what's changing for you is not all that's lost. Once again, there's that term. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Discern. Discern what you keep. Discern what you learn. Discern where you put your time, energy, and effort into what you seek, Angel Eyes. Okay? Thank you so much. Hello, Miss Karen. Isn't that, yeah, Rihanna? Yeah, I know. Yeah, I heard it. It's funny because it was coming up in my camp like about a week ago. So it was really funny. Um, all of a sudden, I heard it out of nowhere, and I yelled at my husband across the way, and I was like, "Hey, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, bro." And then it just became, you know, how spirit, you always get to realize how spirit uses you as a pawn if you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear and you understand the synchronicities that are going on. Most definitely. So thank you guys for each and every one of you. If you would like to tune in to a deeper space with me, please, soul council sessions are available. Courses are available if you would like to jump into more of your talent, skills, gifts, and abilities. If you would like more of a deeper healing and certificate space, where I come from, womantheancientsun.org, we certify those in energetic, shamanic, energy healing, and also Egyptian Shakim Reiki. And that completely has changed because now I'm intertwining Egyptian Reiki and quantum healing in the same space and working with those energies of helping you understand the coherence. It is not a forced space. It is a learned space, and it is a learned trait because the art of coherence of energy is within each and one of your bodies, but how that works through you and how that works within your own individual blueprint based upon DNA levels, based upon traumas, how you see, how you hear, how you feel, and what you connect with. It's deep and it's real. Thank you to each and every one of you. To those of you on YouTube, thank you as well. Check me out, womantheancientsun.org, and I will see you maybe tomorrow. We'll see. All right.